welcome back. The main intention today is to explore beyond the books. It's just to think out of the box. What the common term that all of us use right now is out of the box. Let's think out of the box so that we can get ideas. It's nothing but thinking beyond a prescribed textbook. We have got into a routine of working with a syllabus and using a particular designed curriculum and textbook. So we just stick to that. There are a lot of us have natural abilities. All of us, rather. We're born with some natural abilities. So let not education spoil our natural abilities. So before I begin, let me thank all the subscribers who subscribed to the channel. It's a great feeling to have reached out to so many people, and those of you who have viewed and who are working. The reason why I give this gap between the videos is you need time to make your flashcards. Like I showed you in the last class, is about flashcards making. So the way we begin to teach our children to read. So those of you who haven't viewed my previous videos, please do so that you get to understand what I was doing and what I did in the previous one, because there is this continuity in that. If you do not belong to the first category, and then you can watch from where you think it is relevant to you. So in the last one we spoke about making alphabets from cards, say wedding cards or KG cardboards or whatever you have at home, and then moving on to working with your child. Now once you've done this, those of you who are doing it, please continue doing so. The others who feel confident enough that your child can place the alphabets in a sequence, able to remember from A to Z, whichever sequence you place it in. It's jumbled when you put it into the jumbled form. Those are varieties in which you can think. So you jumble up, say 10 letters which are in sequence, and you have your child put that in sequence. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, you just jumble it up. And those are games that you play. It's never study. So whenever you are working with your child, it's always playing with your child. So now, moving beyond the alphabets, the next step is having your child read two-letter words. So how would you do this? How would you go about this? So when you begin, there is something called sight words. I'm not moving into too much of technical, the technical part of that. But then you begin with two-letter words. So let's begin introducing two-letter words to our children. We'll start with vowels. In this way, we get to introduce all the two-letter words, and then a little beyond that also we can move. There is an order when we begin with the when we begin with the vowels. Okay, so again, those of you who are new to this hemisphere, this area, A, E, I, O, U are the 5 vowels. The rest of them are consonants. Out of the 26 letters, 5 vowels. So it's A, E, I, O and U. So if your child is in LKG, first standard, second standard, they would understand. They would have been introduced to vowels in their schools. So you can talk to them in that language, and so that they get to understand that also. It's a very basic beginning of grammar that comes into over here. So if they are smaller than that you need not do. You just avoid the use of technical terms. So otherwise you can say vowels. So let's begin with A. So it's A, E, I, O and U. So that which is over here. So once this is done, you begin with A. Now how do you make two-letter words with A? So just look for another, say A, S, as. So make a word this way. You can have all the letters spread out on your table or on the ground wherever you are sitting. Pick out A, E, I, O, U and place it in the middle like the way I have done. Place it like this in the middle and begin to make words with them. They mainly called sight words because they just follow, you just need to look at it and learn. I will move into syllabification and the phonetic sounds and all later on, once you move beyond the sight words. We can break it up, which makes it easier for the children. So right now they just need to learn and understand the sight words. So now we begin with A because that's the first vowel. A, E, I, O, U, A. So from all the other consonants, you can add a letter from the consonant to your vowel to make a word. So now when your child is familiar with the alphabets, you can begin with it by moving to the second step like this. It's A. You can pick up S and say as. Put that down. Here you have act. Your child, understand that your child is making a note of the two letters mentally in the mind, and she's looking at this visually and she's listening to your sound also. Okay, so it's act. You can also spell it, say A-T, act. Don't spend too much of time trying to focus on this. That's like I explained in my previous video, it will distract your child. She will get bored because this is grasping that happens very quickly in younger children. So you just need to again work the same way. Act. Same. A-M. Am. So if you look up any primary book, one page of that or one chapter of that, you make a note of all the two-letter words. See, this is something I can show you all that, but there is that joy and that happiness in looking for words yourself. So when you look up the textbook, you will find two-letter words. Do not go into the three-letter words. If you are beginning with the alphabets and then you're following the sequence in which I am showing you. So once that is over, then the two-letter word. So that's how. So when you move down to E, so you can pick up W over here, a consonant, a vowel, W-E, we, B-E, B. You can do this thrice. Make the, place the vowels, have your consonants, you work with it once, or in a book you can write down, or in a sheet of paper you can write down the two-letter words that you are introducing. Do not introduce all the vowels to your child, A, E, I, O, U. Don't do all that. Start with just two letters or just begin with one letter. See, because every parent who is working with a child knows a child's pace. There are some who can pick up two a set of two-letter words, say 10 two-letter words at one go. Some of them can pick up probably just 2 or 3. So you know your child's pace, so you work according to that. Don't bother about what is happening in the next house or the other child, where she is going fast and your child is going slow. No, the intention behind this is to make your child understand from the basic. So that's the intention, not that she the speed is not important here. Understanding the concept is important. So once the base is fine, even if she or he is a little slow, the grounding, the basics is strong. The next day, when you begin with the next vowel, say day 1 you do with the letter A. So you make all the two-letter words and show it to your child with the letter A. The next day when you do it, begin with A and then move to the next vowel, A, E. So you do your homework about making all the two-letter words with E also on a sheet of paper, write it down and introduce only that. The third day, A, E and then I. In, it, is, if, all those are two-letter sight words. So you can move on, A, E, I, O and U. So move on like that till you feel, yeah, your child is picking up. So randomly, if your child sees a two letter word somewhere, she or he is able to point it out and say in, is, on, off, then you know that this is getting registered, whatever you are doing. Do not hurry, go at a slow pace, the pace at which your child understands. But then again, when you are too excited and you want your child to learn, and then you go on, beyond the time I've explained in my previous video. When you're doing something, do it just thrice a day, remove all the distractions in your room, sit down quietly, and you finish this. This would take a little more time, say 5 to 8 minutes it would take. Keep it at that, do not go beyond, because the child is when it's us, why go into the child? When we are introduced to something repeatedly, we also get bored. So then we lose out, the purpose of working this will be lost. So this is the very basics of increasing from your single letters to two letters. You can go on to three letters also like this, but then you follow it's an order that you follow. Okay, say for example, I will just do one for you. See, it is like, now you have introduced two letters. After your single letters, you've come to two letters. So with a vowel, you introduce another consonant as. Once your child is familiar with all the two letter words, from the other whichever letters that are there, for example, you pick up W. It is because your child is familiar with this two letter, you can introduce another letter. This is as. So with as, now it is the as family. You can call it the family. You can make a note in your diary or book or whatever that you're using. Words that end with as, that's one family. Words that end with all. Words, the words, ump, those kind of words that end with what do you say, all, so all those ball, call, they all come into that. So they belong to a particular family. So unless you look up, Google up and all that, it's a different thing. It goes up very high. But then when you look into a textbook, the LKG and the UKG textbook where small stories are there, you can see the common words. So you can make a note of that, and you can also look up. Google is always available. You can also look up, but let it be that one handful of words that you get familiar with. So you need to make a note of that in your book. Even the phonetic books that you get also has these, but then introducing it in the book and doing it this way are two different things. So this is it is spread on the ground, on the table, and your child is picking up words from there. So there is movement, there is this eye and hand coordination happening. So when a child is doing this eye and hand coordination, the child learns better rather than just reading, monotonous reading from the textbook. Now, like I showed you, you will add W. So it is was. Now you can pick up H. That's here. Has. So this is a game that you are playing with your child. So this is how you move on from two letter to three letter, and then you move on to four letter words. So by the time you cover two and three letter words, children are able to read small sentences. I used to use the Little Bear books. They come under that series. You can Google up Little Bear book, the first series, Little Bear Has a Friend. That the entire book has just about 2-letter, 3-letter, and say occasionally 4-letter words. Even Ladybird books. I have done it for my children. Even when by the time my daughter had reached this 3-letter word level, we used to walk to school. So on the way we used to play this word building. Three letter, because she's just hardly in LKG, LKG or UKG, I think. So we used to say, okay, okay, pot, 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 so I would say the sound of the letter t, so that she can build. So that she would say tap, 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 purr, so then, yeah, p, pen, pen, no, 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 nut, nut. So this went on every day from home to school. We would walk up, it was about 15 minutes walk. So we kept playing on the way. So mainly I started off so that she won't ask me to carry her. It was like that. But then this game got the better of us, and every day we started playing. In fact, when she became so good that she actually beat her cousin who was 10 years older than her in a word building game. She was hardly in second standard, and he was in the second PU. And she simply beat him down with the word building, and this just goes on. It's fun. So for her it was fun, because she's doing this every day, and you can do it too. 2 letter, 3 letter, it just goes on like that. And another most important thing, that apart from this gaming, this academic, what you say, the following the academic syllabus that all of us have got ourselves into, there's something that each one of us can do out of the way. And these children learn more when we go out of the way beyond the textbooks. When you sleep every night, it can be these small books. The fonts need to be slightly bigger, not small fonts, little big fonts. You get that in these ladybird books, Three Little Pigs, and your Panchatantra books. Those are actually one of the best ones. The tantra is used in that. Behind every story there is a moral. And to use our books, when we talk about Vishnu Sharma, many of us don't know who Vishnu Sharma is. He was a teacher, a rishi, who came to teach in the king's sons, and the king's sons were not very good at their academics. So he came up with these stories that we get to read today as Panchatantra. Behind every story that he had, there was a tantra behind that, and the princes, when they grew, when they finished their education, they actually were very, very smart in all areas, which they had to learn and be good at. So using this simple story, it's not just a story as such, when we read it out to these children. So one thing that all of us can do, we cannot be Vishnu Sharmas, but there's something that we can do. Every night when you sleep, children, they're too small. You can have them in your armpit, hold them there and read these books to them. And when you read, you point out to the words that you read. With your pointing finger, you point out to the word, every word. The Three Little Pigs. One day, so the child, though you are reading at some particular pace, not very fast, neither very slow, the last thing that the child is doing is listening to you read, and you are pointing out to these words. The child makes a note of those words, and the child remembers. You don't have to test the child remembers every word. So you're actually going beyond the textbook, beyond these exercises that you are doing. The last thing that she's doing or he is doing is listening to you, listening to every word that you are pointing out to. There's an eye coordination. She's listening. It is the visual, the audio, visual, and then you are pointing. That sensory activity is happening over there. And every word that you are reading registers in her mind. And you can just do that. Whenever you fall asleep, you can just fall asleep. I used to do that, and when I would fall asleep, my words would be incongruent. There would be words that even I couldn't make sense, and my child realized that okay, I am sleepy. She said, "Amma, you're sleepy?" I said, "Yeah," and I would just doze off. I would sleep before her, but then that reading habit got the better. There was a lot of word building happening during that time. All of you can do this. You can just try this method at home every day. Pick up some book, and that the child is able to see. The font needs to be big enough that she can see. Right? Now, there's there's another thing that what you can do is, Play with the child. Our ancient games, the Chaukabara, that we play. There is the four players. They sit at different in four directions: north, south, east, west directions, and we have this drawn with chalk behind. You can draw it on the floor, behind any cardboard, anywhere, and you can use pawns from the kitchen. It can be garlic, it can be some nut, you know some pulses that are big enough, your chana, it can be anything. Basic calculation happens, and it's better not to use a dice, but use those small shells which the child can hold in her hand. Very small shells that can be used, which the child, it's sensory. The child can hold and then put. The child will learn how to put. That's a small skill that the child learns as the child starts playing with this. That skill works, and then counting works. How many have I got? So it's 1 2 3 4, and then I need to move my pawn 4. So there's a lot of things happening over there when you're playing that game of Chaukebara. In Karnataka, here we play everywhere. Everyone plays that. So then simple thing of calculations happening, how you're going to beat your opponent is happening. So there is logical analysis, thinking happening in you, calculation is happening. And then there is that social skills, that is, I need to wait for my opponent to finish, wait for her move. Once her move is done, I need to calculate my next move. How am I going to save myself? So a lot of things is happening, and then the child is sitting there in a place. But then that sitting is not passive sitting, like the way you're sitting down and watching something on your mobile or watching something on your screen. There is a lot of activity happening. Movement of your hands, your eyes. You're other than getting up and running around, you're doing everything sitting there. Calculations, there's sensory learning happening, motor skills are happening, fine motor development is happening. You're moving around both your hands. You're using both your right and left hand. Dexterity, that is what we call the right and left hand. So it's a lot of that is happening. Your simple board games. And so some of us get too excited and we start with chess and all that. If your child is interested, yes, but let it not become a status symbol, or playing chess. Yes, that's the most important. If your child has developed skills enough to play high-end board games, yes, move into that hemisphere. But then otherwise, you can start with something low, as when Alguli Mane, which I've explained in one of my videos. Motor development happens. So all these things are there in simple games, and you reading to your child. So these simple games and simple things, you're just sitting down, let's play a game. You're cooking in the kitchen and your child is just tagging behind you. Okay, come. This is pat, this is pot, or this is tap, nut. 3-letter words, met, all these kind of things. As you're doing, it's fun for you as well as for the child, and the child is learning. So let's not look at everything only from the academic point of view. So this is like, when you are doing this, you are engaging yourself and you are engaging the child. There's a lot of this sensory engagement happening, moving around. Your mind is working. It's not monotonous again into the same channel, right? I wish all of you happy working with the methods that I have given. If you have any doubts, you may comment in the box below where the space is given. And the link to the previous video is also given there. You may use the link to go into my previous videos. If you have any doubt, you may please share, or if you're working, do let me know how it is working, how you have been working, or if you come across any difficulties, or if there is any good process. It is an encouragement to the others who are looking into the videos also. Thank you. Till we meet again.